All right, boom, baby, we are live. Welcome to Interview with the Man, episode number 368. Where today we're going to talk about why you need to remain apolitical in the year 2021 and moving forward as well. Because looking at what I saw going back to the United States and everything that I've just witnessed going back to the United States, witnessing what's going on, and the quite frankly, I think the only accurate word to describe it is the insanity that's happening with people in America and the average person just being like hyper obsessed with politics to no end. Listen, I'm going to say this right now, guys. Political people are the new crazy people. Like when you say you're better off walking up to people like, yeah, I'm a I'm a full-time conspiracy theorist. You're better off saying that than you are like, oh, I'm like a real diehard Republican, or I'm a really diehard Democrat, or whatever parties you got up there in Canada. I'm joined by Mr. Ryan Stone in the house. And so thank you so much for coming by. Ryan, how you doing, buddy?
Dude, I'm doing great, and I'm so happy you're back in Japan now, out of the States, rotting your head with all that corn-fed beef.
Yeah, tell everybody how just you guys saw how just the culture shock really affected me. You and Rolo noticed it.
Yeah, well, everybody knows you. Happy-go-lucky, chuck a bunch of shit. You're always focused on money and that stuff, and then after 2 weeks in the States, you started getting ornery, weren't quite as happy as normal. Your sleep got worse. It's like everything about it. You could physically see the differences between Japan John and America John. And I'm not going to lie, we need to keep you out of Florida.
Yeah.
I guess Miami was all right, though.
Miami was good. The thing is this, I'm just look, I cannot function. I understand why Aaron is so he's like our version of he's the new old man shouting at the clouds. He's the old man shouting at YouTube.
Yeah, but from his YouTube shed.
Yeah, he makes a lot of sense. Because look, I don't want to be around big, fat, ugly, dumb people, and that's that's everywhere in America. I went to Wal-Mart and I saw this chick, and I was just so blown away. She was taller than me, and I kid you not, this lady, she was at least minimum 300 pounds. Okay,
making it sound like in prison, she's like, "Hey, boy, come here,
dude." As soon as I saw her, you know who I thought she reminded me of? Kane, the wrestler. I was like, she had the locks, and I was like, just strap a mask on her and have her choke slam the Undertaker through the Mexican announcer table. This is a full pro wrestler in the off season right now, and strolling through Walmart. I was just blown away, man. I cannot be surrounded by mediocre looking people and stuff like that. And I especially after being in Asia, where not only that, I'm in the creme de la creme. Asia. I'm in Tokyo. Okay. So everybody in Tokyo is educated, well dressed, well earned. Okay. One thing that I didn't really get used to when I went back is I don't know if they probably have it in Canada. But when you're in a gas station, it's just that random guy tweaking out, fuck everything, a crack.
God, no, they don't have that in Canada. Thank God. That's a strictly American thing.
Walking down the street,
wandering around for streets like zombies.
Walking down the street, just tweaking out, and screaming at the sky, and I'm just like, "Yo, is somebody gonna shoot this person and with a tranquilizer and take care of this thing?" But I was just having so much just culture shock, and just honestly, in my heart of hearts, I truly believe just American society is beneath me, and it is a dying society. It was good to see it. I think this hyper political a politicization, I guess you use politicalization of everything in America is really like when okay. I was
It's like
hanging
the
out.
Super Bowl, except for instead of the Patriots, you're arguing for Biden or whatever. Essentially, it's like that
Ugh.
American football, British soccer, crazy hooliganism.
It's just it blows my mind. Like when I have like I met some girls that are like one girl is like a professional, like basically she's a prostitute, and she had like this very opinionated view on politics, and I was like, yo, you're like you sell your body for a living. That's illegal. Like I just like your your priorities are all sorts of fucked up and out of whack. Like I don't really care what your opinions are in politics when your personal life is literally nothing but like turmoil. So I just we have a series of things today. I think the number one thing we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about what happened at the Capitol. Ryan, are you noticing like a an increase in like the polarization of people in regards to politics? Because look,
Yeah.
like people didn't used to be all super obsessed with politics like they are
No.
now. I would say, you know, what I've noticed about politics and John, Bulldog Mindset, John, I see you in the chat, buddy. If you want, I can throw you the link if you want to pop on here, John. You're always welcome, man. Just send me ping me on IG or just right here in the chat. Say, yeah, I want to come on. You're more than welcome because we're gonna have Paul's gonna come through, Black Label Logic, Rich Cooper. Everybody's gonna kind of chime in on this morning, but it never used to be like this, Ryan. Like people just be like, hey, like, are you happy today? Like, yeah, I smoked some weed. I had good queso dip. Like, not like, who did you vote for? Or like, what
Yeah,
are
no,
you?
you'd bitch about hockey. Who won the cup? Who lost the game? Why did the Vancouver Canucks like choke in the final period?
Right.
Normal daily shit. This politics thing is completely out of left field.
The word I've used to describe it is pervasive in
Ooh, I like that
America.
one.
It's pervasive. Like, okay, let me talk about my best friend, right? So my best friend like has completely gone off the deep end. Okay, like absolutely just and whatever it's his belief or whatever, but he came over and um now he is you know, God bless him, and you know he's my buddy and all that, but we have to be objective because that's what separates us from men from women. You know, John from Bulldog Mindset, who's about to pop on the stream with us, he recently put something very good on his Instagram saying like, you know, the difference that sets men apart from women is women they live and breathe by how they feel, and men, regardless of how they feel, they you know, they live and breathe by logic, right? And you know, just oh, you know, we got to be objective here, but 5'9", 250 pounds, and came over to my house the entire time. Ryan kept his mask on the entire time.
Whatever happened to like in the old days, if somebody did that to me, I'd have gone and like licked him on the cheek for a joke. But then I wouldn't have to worry about getting arrested right afterwards. Like people are panicking, very
And
panicked.
and so I said to him, I said, "Are you seriously not going to take your mask off right now?" I said, "Are you you're going to keep your mask on the entire time we're together?" All he did was this. He shrugged his shoulders and said, "I don't know, man. This is Trump's America."
You mean the guy, the overweight guy in his 70s who caught COVID and was better 3 days later? That America?
Yeah. Okay. And the whole time, every time I hung out with him, didn't take his mask off, and everything was like, I'm afraid of the virus. You know, I wanted to see, you know, his parents getting older. His father just got diagnosed with some Parkinson's, and he helped raise me when I was little. So I wanted to go say, I mean, not say goodbye, but he's in his, you know, he's big guys, like 6'5", and he's had a couple. He just got a pacemaker installed, and so you know, I just wanted to go, you know, in case he passes away, just go say, you know, hey, how you doing, you know?
Yeah.
And he just wouldn't let me go see him. He's like, listen, he's like, you've been going to these super spreader events, and I'm just really concerned that you're going to, bring some disease and kill my dad and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like,
Man, those stories are sad, by the way. Did you see the one Rolo had where, like, the last moments he had with his mom, or that lawn chair on the other
yeah.
side of that wall through the window?
Mm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. The fact that nobody seems to take those and understand how, like, I lost my dad at 18. If
Yeah.
somebody had told me during the last month that you could possibly go to jail, I think that's a hill I'm willing to die on. It's like, no, I'd rather just go see him. Like, fuck you.
Yeah. It's just, and so that's one thing. And so then it got to the point that, you know, then the whole capital thing happened, and I was like, I just like was texting him, was like, LOL, like this country's, this country's fucked. And then he's like, yeah, man, well, because Trump encouraged those people to go down there and destroy the Capitol and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, dude, you have like, I'm just thinking, like, are we together here on the same page? And just seeing all this, I was just thinking to myself, like, it's just crazy. And the number one health danger to him is the 100+ pounds of fat that he's carrying around in his body. Like, he's 34. Like, dude, if you're 5'9" and 250 pounds and 34 years old, like, you're gonna be lucky if you
Insulin's your problem, not COVID.
Dude, what's the statistic? Like, you're probably gonna die in your 40s. Like, you got 10 years left, give or take. And so it just was to see how everything was so hyper politicized, and how politics in America has made people fucking crazy. Like people I don't think people in America realize it because they live there. But when I came back, I was just like extremely just like it was like a shock. I was like, my perception of reality was just so warped. John, Rich, welcome to the panel, guys. How are you this morning?
What's up, dude?
Good to have you. John, I'm glad you cut the hair. You look good. I mean, you could look good with a fucking potato bag on your face.
Yeah, you got rid of that afro, man.
It's about time. I did a vote on Instagram, and I was like, let's just see. And I was like, and I looked at the vote results, and it was very clear that all the guys were like, keep your hair, and all the girls were like, cut your hair. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go with the I'm gonna disappoint the guys, but
welcome, guys. We're just talking about, I'm really glad to have you guys on here too, because you men have really changed my life just by talking to me offline and associating with me, and just to I'm a smart guy, so when I watch you guys and just see how stoic you are, and not to be like, oh, you got to be red pill stoic, but like, objectively analyzing both of you, I just think that your guys' take on things is very valuable, especially when Rich mentioned it in prior, how like, it doesn't matter who's in charge politically, they both fucking hate your guts, and they don't give a fuck about you. Okay, Trump doesn't care about you guys. Trump doesn't care about you. Biden doesn't care about you. Black Lives Matter doesn't care about you. Even if you're black, they don't care about you. I know, but oh my God, mind blown. But we're just talking about why you need to remain apolitical, and then I have a couple of stories. Did you want to just say anything, opening statements before we move forward here, guys? Rich, start with you, then go to John.
Yeah, okay. As far as the apolitical conversation, I totally agree. People get so bent out of shape when it comes to politics. Like, the smallest thing will trigger people.
Yeah.
And, like you said earlier, like, they actually have this belief that voting for one party or the other, let's just use the American political system because that's really where most viewers are, is going to change something in the world. It doesn't. It's not like, your life is going to dramatic. Like, have we solved racism? Like, asking for a friend, because that's apparently what Biden was going to do.
Yeah. No,
it's always going to be there. There's always going to be classes. There's always going to be the rich. There's always going to be the poor. There's going to be the smart. There's going to be the dumb.
Yeah.
The policy that I use, that I encourage guys to use, especially if they're like here because they want to understand the sexual marketplace and the dynamics between men and women, is very, very simple. It's two parts. Leave me the fuck alone. So vote for government policies that leave you the fuck alone and keep your hands out of my pockets, meaning I don't want to fucking pay you taxes because you guys mismanage money. That's it. If you vote for policies like that and more of the population does that, you'll have more personal freedom and less bullshit in your life. But people don't want freedom. They want free shit.
Preach. Go ahead, John.
Well, there's two things. So one interesting thing, like what you're saying, it's interesting that now we have a physical identification. Masks are a physical identification of political preferences, which is really interesting. It's not an accident. I don't think that that's occurred, because now you can look at someone and you can determine what they are. You can judge them just by looking at them, which is really interesting. You know, throughout history, whenever that's happened, it has not ended well. But yeah, as far as like just being apolitical, I think, you know, a good way for men to look at it. Well, there's two things. One is that, you know, you should only think about things that you're going to take action on, and really things that are inside your control. So, you know, you have just as much control over the politics as you do of the weather. And so if you get upset about the weather, you know, that's pretty ridiculous. But people get upset about politics all the time, which you have just as much control over. And then as a man, you know, the way that I look at things, it's the same, you know, as dealing with women. I think dealing with politics is that it's all a game of chess, right? And so I don't really care what the board position is. Like, I'm not going to be upset or emotional about that. It just is what it is, right? So for example, you know, Biden being president, obviously someone who makes a decent amount of money, that's not a good thing for me. But it's just what's happened. I don't have to be upset about that. It's just now there's different rules to the game. The rules of the game have changed. So now I have to figure out how am I going to optimize and play for those rules. It's the same thing about, you know, guys getting upset about women in Western culture. It's like, yeah, okay, I get it. Instagram, you know, all this stuff. Sure, fine. But now what is the strategy you're going to use? Like, I mean, you can be upset about it, or you can say, okay, this is what the layout of the board is now, and this is my position, and how can I strategically, unemotionally make the correct plays? When you get emotional and you take political sides and you think that somehow you're influencing the world by screaming at someone because they're an idiot because they voted for someone else, you're stopping yourself from making optimal choices, because as soon as you have emotional involvement in a thing, then your logic goes out the window, right? So that's why I think it's so important that apolitical is, because that is going to allow you to make the correct life decision, and also not to waste your time and energy. So you can do an experiment. You wake up in the morning, okay, go to your Facebook feed and look at political stuff before you start your day, and then see how much work you get done. Because that emotional energy actually takes physical energy from you. It will drain you. And so the less that you're allowing things to take emotional energy from you, the more that you're going to have energy to actually hustle and grind and actually change your life. So I'd like to double down on that, because actually, so when I went down to Miami to be on Fresh and Fit podcast, right, I was in the hotel room, and I was there with Josh from eatliftprogram.com. And we were in the room, and I'm so fascinated at American propaganda on the news, right? And I was just like, wow, this is like primo marketing. Like, no wonder everybody's falling for this shit. And I told Josh, I said, look, let's do a little experiment. I said, let's put on CNN and see how we feel. Within 10 minutes, literally, like, and we're grounded men. We were like, we were getting pulled into the show and like getting angry and like, God, fuck this and all this shit. And so what I did was I was like, okay, this is enough. And I just pressed the channel up button to go to the next channel. It was PBS was the next channel, and Sesame Street was on, right? Oh, dude. And we left Sesame Street on and just continued. The air in the room just changed. We were so happy. And I was like, at one point, we're just like, do you realize that we have Sesame Street on compared to the alternative of CNN? And we feel fantastic and want to do stuff and feel productive and happy about life. And you know, compared to watching that poison. So it's like, you cannot listen. You have to be apolitical, have no opinions, don't watch it. Look, you can't change anything. The only way we're going to see some massive change right now is like massive protests, massive, collecting of people and going, but we can't do that right now because of the whole pandemic situation.
And then like really the only way things and you know, I'm not advocating this because it'll get me deplatformed, but the only way to really change things is from a historical standpoint seems to be violence.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is that the guys nowadays that are all political standing, they're thinking that. They're thinking, yeah, if I just go there and become a part of history, I'll make a difference, but they're not. And I think that's a big problem too. It's like you said, the reason you guys are turning this stuff off, turning your emotions off, is because you have a goal, and that doesn't fit in your goal. A lot of guys going down there don't have a goal. They're following their feelings. If I just go there and show my support for Trump, then, you know, the plucky rebels are going to beat the evil empire. And I'm like, dude, you're watching too much TV. You're not Neo. You're not Luke Skywalker. And it's not like you're going to beat Darth Vader at the end and he's going to redeem himself. No, you're just going to go to jail. Best case scenario, you're going to jail. Worst case scenario, some crazy Antifa kid from, you know, rich parents is going to decide to whack you over the head with a skateboard. And then, you know, worst case scenario, you have to defend yourself there and then back to jail for you. It's like there is no winning scenario for this. So why are you even playing something you can't win, you know?
And let me talk about the news for a minute, if I can.
Yeah, go ahead. This is free discussion. Go ahead.
Yeah, because there's a comment here from somebody that's talking about their mom watching CNN all day and her health falling apart. So my parents are retired. They sit around. I mean, my dad pretty much sits around watching news all day, and my mom will keep forwarding me bullshit articles that she sees on her Facebook feed. I actually had to block her on Facebook because I got tired of seeing all the fucking articles showing up in my DMs.
Based.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, fuck.
Mom, I'm blocking your ass. I'm sick of your shit.
I was like, stop sending me these stupid articles.
Like, Jesus.
Bitcoin's going to go to zero. Real estate's going to go to this. This is going to do that. You're going to die if you don't take this vaccine. I'm like, stop. It's like, I canceled my fucking cable because I don't want to see the news. I don't need you sending me the news, right? Yeah. And that's the point of the news. Like the example that you used in the hotel room, like most people pay, not most, but when people receive cable, they're paying for it. Not only are they paying to be delivered propaganda bullshit, they're also paying to watch commercials from companies that are paying the fucking news station to place it. So you're paying to be sold shit that you don't need to begin with, listening to fucking stories that don't serve you, which raise your cortisol levels, increase your fucking stress, create conflict and division within society. Cancel cable. It's as simple as that. Stop following the fucking mainstream media, guys. It serves you no good. Not only does it drain your wallet, but it fills you with fucking negativity.
Yep. Not only that, I would say also look, I have a rule called the 70-30 rule, right? Consume 30%, produce 70%, right? If you're producing instead of consuming, like we're all consuming, so many people are consuming, then it's not other people's thoughts that are invading your head. You're coming up with your own philosophies in life. You're actually producing something. You're too busy, you know, that's, yeah. So anyway, that's my.
No. I mean, it's spot on. And we're going to talk more about that. Mac the Day Gamer says, I blocked my whole family.
Gotta do what you gotta do, man.
What a winner.
Draw that perimeter and just protect it, you know?
You know, so look, we're gonna talk about this, right? We're gonna talk about our favorite idiot, my favorite idiot at least. This
doesn't
guy,
narrow it down.
Yeah, there's a long list. This guy, he's been a critic of he's been a critic of Rolo's just because he
also
wants
doesn't narrow it down.
Yeah, he wants a piece of Rolo's clout. The ostrich himself, Pat Stedman. So this is a guy that has been let me just show you what we got going on here. There's this guy, you know, if you guys don't know Pat Stedman, he's been a very vocal critic of Rolo and everything, and he was actually in the Capitol. He helped rush the Capitol. Okay, and it says right here, New Jersey man charged with taking part in attack at U.S. Capitol posted videos from inside, feds say. So not only are we committing crimes, but we are live streaming and incriminating ourselves in the midst of doing this thing. So I'm just going to the article is relatively short. I'm just going to go through it real quick. And guys, feel free to stop me, add anything in as you want to. It says, shortly after a mass of rioters stormed the U.S. Capitol earlier this month, Patrick Stedman, a self-acclaimed dating expert, live streamed a video to his more than 25,000 followers, authorities said. Quote, I was pretty much in the first wave. We broke down the doors and climbed up the back part of the Capitol building and got all the way into the chambers. The 32-year-old Haddonfield residents said, according to an FBI affidavit, which we'll review as well. Authorities said that they used the videos and tips from witnesses, including a high school and college classmate of Stedman's, to arrest Stedman on Thursday and charge him with unlawful entry of a restricted building and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds. Both charges are misdemeanors. And from what I've noticed, like if both charges are fully realized, he will go to jail for over 1 year.
And I bet you he thought he was like, this is the Boston Tea Party 2.0 in his head. That was guaranteed what he was thinking.
According to the affidavit, Stedman, who described himself as a dating strategist, has one blah, 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 encouraged his followers to join him Washington, D.C. on January 6th, the day Congress was set to certify election votes. He says, highly, highly recommend all patriots come to D.C. on the 6th. This will be a turning point in our nation. We will eventually be a national holiday akin to 4th of July. You will want to tell your grandchildren you were there.
Just wanted to be part of history. You see what I mean? It's all about the feeling.
See, yeah. And I have no problem with this if you're willing to back it up with violence, right? So,
right.
If I'm not saying I would never storm the Capitol, but if I did, I would not do it I would not take selfies inside there. Let me just put it that way. There would I'd be causing some serious, like it'd be a decision that's going to carry some consequences. You know what I'm saying?
Not half-assed,
you know what I mean?
basically.
Yeah. So, and if you do step onto I mean, what I thought was just insane about the whole thing was that, you know, that lady got shot, and it's a tragedy that someone got shot, but at the same time,
in the kitchen.
If I would expect that if you're in what should be the most secure place on earth, which is the most powerful nation's entire government in one building, that if you even step foot in that you're going to get shot on sight. That's what I would expect. So I don't know how you could actually be in the Capitol building illegally while Congress is in session and not expect to be shot on sight by Secret Service agents. So I don't know.
No, it's pure stupidity. It is absolutely pure stupidity. Honestly, listen. I'll just give you a quick caveat. I always tell you guys, I love when I see a miserable woman giving me a Starbucks in America. I went to Disney, and this chick, I kid you not, this 19-year-old chick, blue-haired liberal, had a meltdown while serving me up my churro at Disney. And she's like, I hate churros. Blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something. That was the best churro I had in a very, very long time. To see her melt down, I was like, man, that is pretty tough back there, huh? You going to be okay? All right, give me one of those caramel packets, too, so I could dip this into it. But, you know, I mean, this is what feminism got you, ladies. This is what, I mean, hey, you want to play with the big dogs? Listen, dying is men's business. We're the expendable sex. You want the equality. Like, we're the ones the front line of the war. We're the ones running into buildings to save places that are burning down. We're the ones that are stopping local crimes as police enforcement agents. So it's fun. It's a real reality check. I guarantee so many women saw that woman get fucking smoked and went and like baked their husband a cake and was just like, thank God. Oh my God. I'm not going to divorce him. I'm gonna.
Yeah. And John, you know a sad thing about this too? Like, yeah, okay, tactically going into the Capitol, live streaming yourself committing a felony or a misdemeanor, not the smartest plan. The part that gets me, do you remember how everybody's talking about build a tribe, be a man surrounded by real men? Mm-hmm. Do you notice how many stands are there cheering him on? Like, this is the greatest thing ever. It's like a feminist telling her friend, yeah, cut your hair and dye it blue. You go, girl.
Yep.
Like, I would be pissed if I was in that situation and not a single friend of mine said, hey, dude, slow down. Yep. Either do it all or don't do it all. Like, guys need to rely on other guys. They got your back, you got their back. But when they're cheering you on to basically screw up your life, and it's not like he's just some single guy living in the basement. He's a brand new father. Like, think about that. I want to make a family and live the life with a felony. It's like, yeah. And not a single guy said, dude, let me help you here. Raise your family to where your kid's not going to be in a World Star hip hop video saying, yeah, my dad went to prison.
Can we just stop and talk about choices for a minute? Because like one of the skills that men had
to go ahead.
Because one of the skills that men have to learn, and this guy dispenses advice to other men in one of the most critical areas of their life, which is around women. And if they're not making good decisions around women, they can potentially fuck things up really, really bad, right? This is one of the things that we often talk about. And I think that we get it right more often than we don't. But I see a lot of people get shit wrong. And here we have what we have here is an example of a guy that can't make good fucking choices, right? Yeah. Like it's really, really important as a dude at some point to recognize that, you know, you can play to win for a good part of your life, and then you kind of have to pivot, you know, at a certain point to playing not to lose. And the playing not to lose component isn't good or bad, but it's something that you can play after you've been playing to win and you've made bank and you've got your millions and you've got a lot of experiences and scars and broken bones and all that kind of shit. Right. But at some point you have to learn the lesson of not fucking up. Right. And there's certain things in life that you will do that will come from choices that you make from a crappy belief system that will lead to a fuck up. And this is the mother of all that I've seen so far in the last month. Anyway, I'm sure there'll be more this year. We see a lot of guys make fuck ups, you know, throughout their lives, but this is a really bad one. And to me, it just illustrates what about the other pieces of advice that this guy, you know, has been emailing, setting on his fucking list. Yep. Broadcasting on social media platforms, and especially when he's pointing and sputtering at somebody like Rollo, who actually delivers fucking results for people. It just goes to show you what you're dealing with. So always question the source is really what I'm boiling this down to. Is whenever somebody dispenses advice, look at the fucking choices they've made in their own lives and ask yourselves, would I want to walk a mile in that guy's shoes? Do I want to be him? Ask yourself that.
And we're gonna do a critical analysis of that as well. Let's go back to the article here. I want to continue up. So, and he says, if you're coming, direct message me. We are assembling a team. This guy thinks he's building the Avengers. Stedman proceeded to document his trip down the nation's capital on social media the day before the riots, authorities said. After rioters breached the U.S. Capitol on 6, Stedman also documented the scene inside the government building on his Twitter account, according to the affidavit. And then here he is. Okay, so you guys know this is the guy, right? Just look at this icon of masculinity, right? Okay, just for 1 second.
Hope this is the one where he puts his white wine with ice.
in the Christmas sweater.
Oh, the dead air is so bad. We'll fill it with mouth noises till the damn video starts.
Which mouth noises you want to make? Farting sounds or
anything would be better than "Hey, I'm committing a felony."
Hey,
right. Was that not playing the live stream for you guys? Was it?
No, it's not. No, it's not
okay. Sorry, it opened when I clicked it. It opened.
Oh, a new window. Yeah,
it opened a new window. Okay, 1 second. Let me.
Hey guys, I'm gonna run.
Okay,
I'll let you finish this up, but I'm gonna try to watch it while I'm doing some work. Okay.
Thanks, man. Thanks for popping in. Take care. Ryan, if you want to, I think, I put the message for Carl, but anyways, let me go to this.
He's in like some undisclosed European place. For him, it's probably like, I don't know, God knows what time, and he might still be at work.
Okay. Just take a real quick look at him in the Christmas sweater. This is tactical. We've got to save the nation gear. So just take a look.
All right, guys, we are live. Big day today. A lot of crazy stuff happened, and so I want to talk about this. I want to share the day. Basically, I want to share the day because I think that there's a lot of misconceptions that people have about what happened, and so I'm going to lay it all out there for people. Okay, I'm going to tell them exactly what happened.
So then he gets, after he goes on his little Patriot storm or whatever. He goes up there. and then he commits a criminal act, and then he gets on a live stream after he live streams himself doing the criminal act. Then he gets on the live stream to rehash his criminal activity. So he's incriminated himself, and then he's going over again what he did, which was illegal. So I just pure stupidity. And it says Stedman appeared on video and discussed the details of his presence inside the U.S. Capitol, including sitting in Speaker of the House Representative Nancy Pelosi's office, authorities said. In the video, Stedman admitted to entering the building. We wanted to go in. I'm not going to deny that. U.S. Magistrate Judge Karen M. Williams released Stedman on a $50,000 unsecured appearance bond during his first appearance in federal court Thursday afternoon. Okay.
Do you want to touch on the monetary aspect of this last couple months for that boy?
Yeah, let's. Okay, so we could go ahead because the guy again, he's just the epitome of an entitled rich kid who thinks he's got it all figured out because mommy and daddy are supporting him. And well, you can go. You can go ahead if Ryan, go ahead and say.
Yeah, well, the first part is he started gambling. Now it's that soft spot for me. My parents' divorce was because my dad was a gambler, so it's at the point where I don't walk into pawn shops without freaking out. Mm-hmm. But that was the thing. Wife was pregnant. What's he do? He puts $100,000 bet on the the
Yeah, bets $100,000 that Trump is going to win presidency. Bets $100,000. That's the dumbest bet you can make. Like anybody with a full set of chromosomes could know that, like, hey, they don't want this guy to be in office, and we knew, all of us here knew, that if Trump was going to lose, it was going to be due to some fuckery, and lo and behold, they pulled it off, and here we are.
Aside from that, he's talking about this politic thing like this is the end of the world or the Jesus is coming back event. If something is so sacred and important to you, why are you just gambling with it? You know what I mean? Right. It kind of gives a lot of irreverence to something you're saying is supposed to be important, so it just doesn't jive there. But that's not the worst of it, because he did that. And then, what's that guy's name? Colty Bra.
Yeah.
Kind of like a funny chat online, whatever. Bets him another $10,000. And then once he gets called out on that, like every one of his tweets now that he's out of prison, is basically saying, hey, where's Colty's money? Pay the man. Yeah. And he's kind of weaseling out of it too. So it's not even that he's doing degenerate gambling while trying to show guys how to be better men. It's not that he's committing felonies and live streaming it. It's not that other guys are taking advice on great lives because of this. On top of that, then, he's weaseling out of the commitments he did make. So now he's trying to say, well, it wasn't a real bet, like it's two 5-year-olds in the park. Right. No, I got the super shield. You can't hit me. I was like, like, there's nothing about this that's, and the worst part, though, is it's all going to come around to all of us. Anytime somebody talks about a relationship or a dating guy or any of this stuff, they're going to think, oh, like that guy that stormed the Capitol. And now we're all looking like idiots.
Yeah. It's, go ahead, John. Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
I was going to say that women are really good at what I can never say the word solipsism.
Solipsism.
Solipsism. Men need to be right in the sense that, like, worry about yourself, right? You know what I mean? Like, trying to save the world, it's a lost cause. Okay. Yeah. Don't try and save. I'm all for. I might even support some of the political views of some of the people that would do these type of things on a principled basis, but I'm more concerned about my own shit and what I got going on and preserving it and advancing myself. And like, guys need to pay attention to their own stuff, right? Instead of worrying about all of this stuff and trying to, it's good to make a difference in the world by the way that we're making a difference, by individual people, helping men in their lives that way, not by some great ideal. Like, you're not going to change the world, right? Unless you have a standing army, or you're speaking from the pulpit of hundreds of thousands of people that you can influence, then you should stick to worrying about your own shit, right? That's just so basic. I think that guys need to get that concept in their head. It's like, don't worry about all this stuff. Like, worry about your own shit. Like, be a little bit more selfish, just like women are. They've gotten good at this. You be good at that. Be good at thinking about number one first.
Yep. Well, and so I was running the numbers in my head because, guys, look, I wanted Trump to win. Let's be honest, okay? And not because it was because I've been a Trump fan my entire life. He just happened to run for president. I was like, yeah, fuck, I want my guy to win. And then he won the last time, pissed off the world. Big fan of that. And then
nobody got bombed in the Middle East for once. That was nice.
First president to not start a new war in a very, very, very long time. Okay.
Since Carter, who also did single term, by the way. It's kind of funny.
So then we have this guy who decides they're gonna rush the Capitol. So another thing is this, right? And this is me running the numbers in my head. Because I was gonna go to the stop the steal thing just to see Donald Trump, right? I was. just to, like, I just wanted to see Trump. Like, I was just going to treat it like a live event. Like, oh, cool, go see Trump. But by rushing the Capitol, what were they hoping to do? Were they going to go and beat up Mike Pence or punch Nancy Pelosi in the face? Like, what was the objective? We're gonna storm the Capitol, and then we're gonna sit down and wait for the feds to come shoot us and take us to prison.
Yeah. Anyways, here, John, I gotta go, man. Enjoy this stream as much as I'd love to stick around.
You're
I
good.
love how you guys are crushing it. Guys, stick in the chat. Hit the likes, by the way. He needs more.
Thanks, man.
Right,
have a good morning, buddy. See you.
You too. Later, John.
So, you have this whole situation here, and then now this guy, he's casting a bad light on all of us.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's
a massive bad light, and there's a numerous amount of people out there as well. Anthony Johnson did the whole let's stab roll in the back thing and go with the MAGA. I'm gonna turn my entire brand and go political. This happens, deletes every tweet he ever tweeted out. Do you know that he wiped his tweets?
No, I didn't see that. No.
He wiped his tweets. And so, we're just seeing. I'm honestly, I'm glad it's happening because it really is. It is a cleansing fire, and it is a much needed cleansing fire. I'm not saying we're going to get rid of all the morons in this area because this guy's already back and whatever. But for guys like you and I, not that I'm some like great governing authority. I only have jurisdiction over the Hot Dude Army, but when I met you in California, when you came to Hot Dude Con LA, and I got to shake your hand, get to look in your eyes, see how you're hanging out with people, and see what you're about. I knew that you're the real deal, and so you could probably, you met me, you had your judgments about me, whatever conclusions you came to about me, and we were able to verify each other in real life. So, but when you have guys like this who are just running around unchecked and then doing stupid shit like this, I mean, not only does it shine poorly upon us, but it does upon all men in America too, because it's just another like, look at these fucking men. We got to put them in the gulag because they're storming the Capitol. They're doing all this shit. It's so foolish because now, all right, let's go back to the article because I want to close up this article here. Now, it says on a $50,000 unsecured appearance bond during his first appearance in federal court this Thursday afternoon, Assistant U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Bender sought to have the defendant detained pending the outcome of the case, saying Stedman was a flight risk due to his stated desire to move to Poland with his wife. Bender also said Stedman was a danger to the community because of his alleged social media posts encouraging people to join him at the Capitol and his documentation of the attempted insurrection. Okay.
It's hardly an insurrection, but
dude, it is such bullshit. Okay. So what, like now an insurrection is a violent overthrow of the government, correct?
Right. Which I'm not necessarily against that, but like, if you're going to do it.
Right.
Like,
which it wasn't, ultimately Williams granted Stedman, who has no prior criminal record, bail under certain conditions. She revoked his passport and restricted his travel to New York and New Jersey. The judge said she had never defamed a defendant on misdemeanor charges in her 11 years of the federal bench. Stedman's case will now be transferred to U.S. Attorney's Office of District of Columbia. His next court appearance is January 27th. Okay, so Ryan earlier was saying that there was a felony. So just want to clarify, it was not a felony. It is 2 misdemeanors. However, John, do you want a misdemeanor right now?
No, in fact, I don't need any heat. Like, why do you need the heat? Like, what do you, again, like I said, I can never say the word solipsism. Mm-hmm. That's what guys need to be practicing, because how does it benefit you? Even if you do overthrow the government, how does it really affect your daily life and benefit you? Right? It's not going to benefit you as much as you think. Like the risk versus reward is so high on this in the negative, right? And then the other thing about this, I think that's really the critical thing to understand is, and see, so many guys don't understand the dynamics of power, right? You need to read 48 Laws of Power, guys, if you haven't already, because if you did, then you would understand that, or Sun Tzu's Art of War. You need to understand when you're in a position of power and when you're not in a position of power. And see, when you're not in a position of power, you need to defer to the power. Sometimes it's time to retreat. Sometimes it's time to just play it cool. You know what I mean? When you're in the bad side of it, you can really get fucked up. It's just the same thing as like recognizing, you can be a tough alpha guy. You go to a bar and there's 3 250-pound dudes that want to pound your face in. You just kind of act polite to them and buy them a beer. Like, you don't, like, it doesn't matter what they say to you, or how they insult your masculinity. You just fucking walk away, because you're just gonna get your face pounded in. You know what I mean? You're like, hey, well, maybe at some point in time you'll have a chance to be in a position of power over them, and then you can do some damage. But you just have to recognize it. It's not like a personal thing. Like, so many people get they get their egos involved, and it's just like, you just have to recognize when you're in the position of power or not. And that was clearly a position of weakness, right? There was not, if they were there, if there was 1 million guys there with guns, you know what I mean, and they're like, okay, we're going to take over the Capitol. That's different. Now you're in a position of power. Now I could say, all right, that's a smart move. But was it like, a handful of people, a couple hundred, or maybe 1,000 people storming the Capitol? Obviously, the government is in the position of power and is going to take you out, and you got nothing there. So that's the biggest thing, is like, just understand positions of power.
It is. I mean, look, it is foolish. It is foolish. What is the benefit? What this is like what you're seeing in this situation, and we're gonna talk about somebody else as well. John, you're gonna love this one.
Okay. I don't like shit talking people.
It's not shit
right.
talking. This is a lesson for men, because guys in my community went up there, and I told them, like,
oh, okay, yeah.
I mean, like, I understand participating and stuff, but you have to be objective. You have to be critical with your thinking, and you have to engage in some solipsism and say, what's in this for me? And that's what I was on vacation. I was in Orlando, right? And I was enjoying eating edibles, smoking weed, and hanging out. That was like, I was in Chick-fil-A. That was my vacation, right? Nice. And I thought to myself, so I have to go and get on a plane. I got to fly there. Mm-hmm. Okay. I only fly first class. That's going to cost me $300 minimum. And then I got to find a hotel. I got to check into the hotel. And then I probably have to rent a car or get an Uber, go there, deal with the crowds, right? Deal with all of these people, sit there, watch a speech be made, and then feel good about myself, or is this going to change the election certification results, or what's going to happen? And after I ran those numbers, I said, okay, it makes no sense. I'd rather, because I went to America for two things, see my family, obviously, number one, and then two, go meet the guys in the community, right? That's literally why I killed myself going to Los Angeles, New Jersey, Philadelphia, New York, New Orleans, Orlando, Miami, right? Going out, meeting everybody, and engaging in these meet and greets. So for me, that was like beneficial, because I would go meet guys in the community, guys that have literally gave me money, said like, please help me change my life. And I did the work with them. And then I went and met them in real life. Like, that was a better thing for me to do, because making these real life connections are far more beneficial than just, even if we storm the Capitol, I'm getting like, what is the end game? What was the end? What did anybody think of the end game? Like, we're gonna storm the Capitol, and here we are.
Take some selfies.
Take a selfie, right? Welcome, Troy Francis, to the panel. How are you, buddy?
I'm all right. What better man in the sphere to come on and discuss American politics than a British bloke who hasn't been to America in about 8 years? So I'm here to bestow my wisdom. Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
We are here to submit to your authority. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I just got in and I was listening to what you guys were saying. I was listening to what John was saying, and I mean, I'm really on board with this more libertarian, let's say, attitude towards politics, which is effectively. And I was reading a book called How to Be Free in an Unfree World by Harry Brown, which was recommended to me a number of years ago. Very, very interesting book, and he talks about politics in that book, and he basically kind of says something along the lines that John was saying, which is to say that ultimately, you've got to look at what you can control and what you can't control. And most stuff in this arena, to be honest, as an individual, and even en masse, like with the Capitol siege or whatever you want to call it, you can't control. So then you have to make that decision. Is it really worth my time and my potentially freedom and my standard of living, getting involved with this stuff or not? And you have to make that calculation, like you were saying, John. And I think with something like what happened at the Capitol, it's pretty clear that that calculation would have been, no, actually, this is not worth my involvement in this situation. So I think it's like you guys were saying, people have got to be a bit more selfish, really. I mean, I know it sounds good on Twitter to be like, yes, I stood up for what I believed and stuff like that. But in the end, what you believe isn't going to pay the bills. And yeah.
And so now let's talk about what was potentially going to happen to this guy, right? So in 2 days, he has to go stand before the judge and receive his punishment. Okay. John, do you think they're going to let him off and just be like, we're going to drop the charges?
It depends on it. You know what? The criminal justice system completely depends on your lawyer, 100%. So it depends on how much money he spends on a lawyer. If he hires a good enough lawyer, he'll get off
scot-free.
Even though minor community service, something like that.
Does it the political calculation though of how much they want to, make an example of these?
That's what I'm thinking. Is these motherfuckers are fresh in office, and these are the first people they're going to make a case out of, or make an example of, if you will.
It certainly doesn't look good. I'll say that, but he's going to need a very expensive lawyer. Otherwise, he's going to suffer the maximum sentence for sure.
Right. So. Exactly. Here we go. I'm on the same page as Artemis. I just don't understand how by paying more money to a lawyer, you can get off, because doesn't it ultimately end up like maybe the lawyer's connections with the judge is what you mean? Or
it's so 90%, 95% of criminal cases never make it to court. They're bargained outside of court by the defense attorney, and the so you hardly ever have a criminal case actually make it to court. So there'll be some plea bargain that will happen, and depending on how good the lawyer is in negotiating the plea bargain and what his connections are with the judges, that will determine what will happen. So
okay. And I know Chesty's in the chat. He's an attorney in America. So Chesty, if you want to come on, just let me know. I'll throw the link in the chat. I mean, I have control, so I can just throw out people from the studio who aren't welcome here. But yeah, I agree with Artemis here. He says they're going to make example out of all these guys, maxed out charges and sentences. But let's take that aside. Okay, so let's assume that he does get off, right? You think big tech and the liberals are going to forget this guy? He permanently painted a huge mark on himself. Now he faces losing his Twitter account, which is 25,000 followers. The credibility of his business already was in the dumpster. Now it's even further in the dumpster. I mean, he risks going to jail, and he has a kid coming in to the world as well. So the downside things that he has to put up with right now completely outweigh the positive. Are there any positives to this?
It's the same thing as white knighting, right? It's the same benefit risk analysis, right? It's like you're essentially white. Like, what are you getting when you white knight, right? You're not getting the girl, right? You're getting the consequences of the action. You're not getting any of the benefits and you're getting all the consequences. It's the same thing, right? It's simple math, right? That's why it's like these should be logical decisions. Like, you think about this, you weigh the risk. That's why, again, with what Troy was saying, it's the power dynamic that comes into play. Because you can be like, okay, look, I stood up for what my principles were, but it doesn't matter unless you were in the position of power. So when you're so the best thing you can do is to get in a position of power and then exert your will upon the world, then live by your principles, then force other people to conform to your principles, right? But you have to be in a position of power in order to do that. If you're not in a position of power, it doesn't matter. So
yeah, I just think I was reading something in the chat. Sejal says, does anybody know what the potential time pad is looking at? It's looking at 1 year maximum charge. And so look, take a look here. Other people are actually tweeting and talking about it. This is the most publicity he's ever gotten in his entire life. This guy, blue check mark, self-described dating expert, Pat Stedman, with 25K followers, arrested in New Jersey over participation in Capitol riot, right? FBI cites multiple posts from his Twitter account. Again, here he goes. Obviously, these are all deleted now, but just clearly taking photos and incriminating himself for what benefit? His own ego, really. Because if you look at, like, he's kind of a deranged guy, man. He's like, you want to find crazy people, go on Twitter. Really, that's just like really where it's at. Writing things like, where was this one thing he wrote? Okay, yeah. What you feel and believe, you manifest. That's correct. And a fundamental role of film is to cultivate emotions and beliefs. Horror films program people to open themselves up to demonic attack. It's just like, you go from making some really good sense, what you feel and you believe, you manifest, going to, but Satan is coming to possess your body.
But the thing is, right, he went really down the rabbit hole with QAnon and all that kind of stuff. And I know there's some mixed opinions on the panel about, conspiracies and all that kind of stuff. And we can get into that. I'm not saying there's no such thing as a conspiracy, obviously. But the thing is, him and people like that have gone really far down this rabbit hole where they're believing this really esoteric stuff. And so with the Capitol situation in particular, they viewed it as being this epic battle between good and evil. Right. And because they believed that they were on the side of the right, or they would say the light, they believed they were on the side of the light. I don't think many of these people really thought there would be any consequences, because I think that they genuinely thought that the police would be on their side, that probably Trump would be on their side. I think it actually took some of these people by surprise. There was a real estate lady from Florida who's got caught up in all of this. And she quite famously went on TV afterwards and asked Trump for a pardon. She literally appealed to Trump on local TV and said, Mr. Trump, can I get a pardon? Because I was just doing what you said. Now, of course, as we know, subsequently, Trump basically disavowed all of them, didn't he? So, but I think part of the problem is these people genuinely believed that it was all going to be overturned that day, and they were going to be on the side of glory and right.
Again, going back to America was very eye-opening for me, but just to see, John, Troy, for me, it just seems, it's just so clear as day that this ain't gonna do nothing. Like storming the Capitol, like the only way, like you mentioned, John, is you're storming the Capitol. You have 1 to 2 million people, armed, trained militia, and you're like, we're gonna burn this motherfucker to the ground unless we get a fair election or not. And then we got something, but you got guys posting selfies instead. They're armed with iPhones, and they're ready to post this on Instagram to show you. Yep. You better click that like button if you want to be a patriot. I just
and they sprung too soon, right? Like, what do you mean? If you so take the American Revolution, right? It was well organized. There was a plan of attack. Like, they waited till they had enough numbers that they knew they could actually stand a chance of defeating the British. Right. That was the whole thing with the American. This was not, if you were in a position of power where you actually thought you could actually do it, that's a totally different thing. Again, not saying that would even necessarily be the wisest choice, but I could be backing that if it was actually, something that was viable, but it wasn't viable. Right. Like you said, they're just taking selfies and they're not going to accomplish anything. That's why it always, like I said, I keep on coming back to this, but it comes back to power dynamics. Right. Power is so important to understand. You have to understand when you're in a position of power and not in a position of power, because that determines, because guess what? That determines the consequences, right? You could do the exact same action and be on the winning side and you're a hero and do the same exact same action and be on the losing side and get the guillotine. That's so that's why it's not right or wrong. It's not principles. It's power. Power controls the world. And if you don't understand power, you're just going to constantly get punished for making the wrong choices at the wrong time. Because it's not wrong choices. It's wrong choices at the wrong time. Because timing is everything. It depends on where you're at. What is your position? It's the same thing. That's why, like, one of the greatest lessons I learned in life was playing poker. When I was playing poker semi-professionally, because it teaches you all these things: risk, reward, looking at things objectively, taking your emotion out of it. It teaches you how to calculate the expected value, the expected return based on the situation, which all is about power, right? It's what position you are sitting, right? When someone's acting first and then you're responding, that's a position of power. When you have a big chip stack, that's a position of power. You can bully people around. Like, you have to understand power dynamics in life. Otherwise, you're just going to constantly get punished over and over again.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a great analogy, especially because, like, with the small blind, big blind, you can bleed somebody dry of all their chips if you have a large enough stack and then win the game, and then boom, boom, you're the winner. But again, I just don't think this is I don't think this was just thought out at all. Now, I'm part of a digital marketing group, and I want to shift gears here. And there is a guy who is no longer in the group, but his name is Josiah Colt, and he was the guy famously seen right here. Do you guys remember this guy? The hangman here?
Yeah.
Okay. Josiah Colt, man seen hanging from Senate balcony, turns himself in. This is another guy. Josiah is a Google AdWords expert. And prior to this, he was making anywhere between $70,000 to $80,000 a month by running Google AdWords. Okay. However, he let his mind slip down the conspiracy video, like, black hole that is there on the internet, and he geared up, had a gun, put on his armor, and decided, that's it. It's time to take back the Capitol. It's time to make America great again. Whatever. And I'll just share with you. There's a common theme here with these guys. I want to see if any of you guys can pick up on it. Let me see. Okay, one second. I have the video right here. It is okay. This one right here. Tell me if you guys can. Oh God. Here he is as well. Live streaming and documenting his entire criminal procedure. Let's take a look real quick.
I just got in the white. I just got in the Capitol building. I was the first one. I hopped down into the chamber, and I was the first one to sit in Nancy Pelosi. She's a traitor. She's treasonous. Like, I'm sitting here, and I don't know what to do. Like, I'm in downtown DC. I'm all over the news now, but, like, I'm just like every single one of those people that was marching, like a peaceful protest, came here to represent America, we're tired of being lied to. We're tired of people stealing from us, stealing our freedom, stealing our liberties. And, I didn't hurt anybody in there. Like, yeah, I did sit in Nancy Pelosi's seat. Like, she shouldn't be there. She doesn't represent the American people. And, I represent, I'm just a normal person that, like, loves this country and wants to maintain our freedom and doesn't want to sell out to China. And, I love this country so much. So let it be known that I didn't hurt anybody and that I just love America. I love Trump. I love what he stands for. I don't agree with everything he's ever said and done, but because I support Trump, I'm not a xenophobic, sexist, homophobic, all those things that get lumped into extremists. Like, he's a patriot. He's a good.
Okay. So within 3 days, Josiah lost all of his contracts.
Jeez.
Okay. He went from making $70,000 to $80,000 US per month with his clients to nothing. Okay. I would say put a 1 in the chat if you're out there making $70,000, $80,000 a month, and would you risk it? But I know none of you guys are, because it's like it's like such a high bar to achieve financially for the average person, and this guy sacrificed it for his political beliefs that really got him nowhere. Your political beliefs. I mean, guys, you have to remember, politicians are scumbags. Like the dumbest thing you could ever try to do is like, I want to be politically correct. Really? So you're aspiring to be like a politician? Like that's the target. And now this guy has gone from literally being in the top 1% financially to being blacklisted and making no money, taken to jail, turns himself in, and now he has to go and face a judge and deal with these criminal charges against him. All right. And to what end? What is the benefit? Because I see nothing but downside.
Well, what about the argument, just to play devil's advocate for a moment?
Go ahead.
Because I agree with you guys, and I agree with what John's saying about power and all the rest of it. And for me, it was a no-brainer. I mean, it's just like, look, the game is as it is. It's been won. You know, turning up on that day is not going to change anything. But these people, or some of these people, would argue, well, no, listen, this was the battle of our lives. This was, in their view. I'm not saying I agree with this because I don't, but in their view, they were saying, listen, this was a complete fraud. This is the battle of our lives. At some point in every man's life, you've got to stand up and be counted. You've got to do the action. And we've seen this reflected in some of the commentary about Pat Stedman, because some guys have come forward and they've said, no, listen, actually, Pat, at least he did something. At least he put himself out there on the line. Now, my response to that would be, well, it's all very well having skin in the game, but you've kind of got to choose your game. And if your game is based on nonsense, then I don't think that that's anything particularly to be proud of. But how would you guys respond to that? Because some people would be saying, well, listen, we're all here talking about, take action, be the best man you can be and all of that. Are there not some times when you have to stand up for what you believe in?
John, go ahead, buddy.
I was going to say, if there was a chance of winning, if I honestly thought that we could win, I'd be there with a gun. I would be there with a gun. Like I align with stopping the bullshit and having consequences for for election fraud and fixing the system. Sure, but that's why it comes down to power. See, there was no chance of winning that. There was no chance, and the plan wasn't even to take over. It was just to take selfies and sit in Nancy Pelosi's chair. That's ridiculous. I'm not going to be supporting that but you know what I'm saying? Like, if it comes down to it, because sure, the thing is, like, it doesn't matter if you can't possibly win, right? It's like standing up to a mugger that puts a gun to your head and says, hey, give me your money. I'm gonna just give him my money, right? Because I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, this is the fight of my life. This is my chance to prove my manhood, that I'm not gonna let someone take my money, even at gunpoint, right? Yeah. Now, but same scenario. Say someone puts a gun to my head and they're like, I don't know, they're like, or it puts a gun to someone who I care about, right, to their head, and they try to get me to do something, or let's say that they're like, I have to sacrifice my life to save someone that I care about or that I know, right? That's a better scenario. Sure, then that's a chance. You take a stand, you do something that's a principle. Maybe you're willing to die on that hill, right, to save someone's life, or to But in this case, it's all about, like, what is the potential outcome. And there's no potential outcome. So, the other thing about that, again, is that for most guys, like I said, you just need to focus on what is actually going to benefit you in life. Let someone else go and save the world, right? You know what I mean? Like, especially if you're a valuable guy. Like, think of it this way, right? Okay, if you're there's a not to knock Marines or anything, but you know what I mean? It's like there's certain guys that it's like that's you should be doing that job. You know what I mean? And again, not to knock Marines, total respect for guys that fight and die for freedoms that we enjoy. But what I'm saying is that, like, if you're a guy that is making good money, if you have a successful career, if you have, like, don't throw all that on the line. If you got nothing to lose, sure, okay, I can see you, you know, going and making a choice because you don't have much to lose. But if you got a lot to lose, let someone else go and fight that fight. They're better equipped to do that, and then, you know, and you do your thing. So right. You know, and the last thing I'll say about it is that nationalism is a stupid idea. Yes. Nationalism is just brain dead stupid, because now it comes from the idea of tribes, right? Like, I have a tribe of guys. There's guys I would die for, that I would, you know, that I would certainly defend our tribe, and I would put everything on the line for my tribe, for my close tribe of men and people that are in my life that I protect. But at a national level, the United States of America doesn't give a shit about me individually. Yeah. It's not, you know, it's a great country for sure, you know, that we enjoy the freedoms here, but at the same time, like, having some kind of nationalistic, like, love for your country is just to me, it's just a dumb idea. It doesn't make any sense, right? From a very practical standpoint. And that's the problem, is, like, so many of these guys got radicalized because they have this nationalist viewpoint, as if America is the greatest country in the world and we have to, you know, keep it that way. No, I get the sentiment of protecting freedoms, but at the same time, you know, it doesn't benefit you anything. You know, let someone else go and do something stupid.
It's that thing between the collective and the individual, isn't it? Because the nationalism, I would agree with what you've just said about nationalism, and nationalism is really collectivism. I mean, it's a different sort of collectivism, isn't it? Yeah. Because it's like, I care for my country so much, I'm willing to die for my country. Well, great.
Like, let the guys know what collectivism is, but just so
yeah. Well, I just mean it in the sense of being concerned with the well-being of the collective, of a group of people, of society as a whole, rather than just for yourself. And that sounds very noble. It sounds great. It's the kind of thing that gets you a lot of likes on Twitter and retweets and things like this. But in reality, as an individual, something that you can do for the collective, something you can do for your nation, may be actually detrimental to you as an individual. So again, it's like, why not be a bit more selfish? Why not think, listen, I'm only going to be on this planet really for a few more decades. I kind of want to have a good time. I kind of want to stack some cash. I want to, you know, I want to, do you know what I mean? I don't want to do things for an entity. And bearing in mind, you know, I'm British. I love this country, you know, and all that stuff. Yeah, great. But in the end, it was kind of arbitrary that I was born here. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of rock in the middle of the, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, you know, what's more important to you? Your country, which is this sort of, you know, somewhat esoteric idea, really, or your own life and what you're going to be doing in the next 10, 20, 30 years.
Right. I just want to do some catch up with super chats. ML with the €5, or the Great British Pound, excuse me, says Robert Barnes is a great lawyer. Thanks so much. He also follows up, says, it has been a few months since we could see the game was rigged. Then what was the point of involvement? In France, we know it is an easy game for manipulation. Very, very, very true. I want to, you know, for you guys out there who really want to make a change, and I'm going to do I'm going to do a video on this later this week, most likely. Chamath Palihapitiya, he is, I'll just show you guys. You guys know what I'm talking about? John, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Nope.
Oh, you don't know him? When I show you a picture of him, you'll know what I'm talking about. Okay. This guy right here. He is a famous. He's a billionaire. He's former Facebook executive. You know this guy, right? Chamath Palihapitiya.
I can't say that I do.
Really? Oh, he's like in your field. Interesting. Okay. Troy, do you know this
guy? I'm not sure that.
Well, anyways,
I've seen some stuff about him. Yeah.
He's a huge Bitcoin advocate, and he has a video on the internet, and he talks about it, the importance of becoming rich, and here's why. Because if you don't have capital, you don't have power, and if you don't have power, nobody gives a fuck about you.
Yeah.
You don't have leverage. If you don't have the upper hand, you don't have any kind of influence, Nobody fucking cares. No one. That what Josiah should have done was to continue to amass wealth and create some kind of movement 10 years down the line when he's 44, when he has like millions of dollars, if not billions at that time. But instead, he had a Glock and he suited up and he put on some knee pads. He's like, I've got these knee pads and I've got this Glock and I've got this this Trump thing to cover the bottom half of my face. And right here, guys, this is it, man. We're about to overturn the election results, guys. Like if I didn't have these knee pads, God knows what would happen. But I've got the knee pads. I've got this. Let's rush this and let's take it down. Now, guess what? You think this guy can ever get a job ever again? Absolutely not. Probably shoveling dirt in Idaho somewhere from a friend of a friend, but no one's going to hire him. He's lost all credibility. He lost all his clients. He's going to go home and be publicly shamed. He's not going to go home and be like, oh, there's Josiah the hero. Like, there's Josiah the fool who had it all and threw it away.
Let me give you a little resource here. I'll drop it in the chat here. It's can I drop a link? Will it? I guess let's see if it lets me. There you go. 48 laws of power. You should always just consult this chart because it's got them all listed out here, right?
Okay.
But what's interesting, what you said about the power and the money, is that if you really want to change the world, there's a law, one of the 48 laws of power. It's called the cat's paw, right? I'm trying to find it.
I'll pull it up. I got you, buddy.
Okay, but where is it on there? Maybe it's not listed as that. You know what I'm talking about?
Troy's the expert on this.
Well, we're doing the art of seduction at the moment, so it's been a day or so since I looked at this one.
Don't try to cop out.
There's a few of these that you could go through here and you could see why these things are dumb. But as far as like the one I'm thinking of is as far as power is using a cat's paw, the cat's paw. So what it means is that it comes from a story of I forget some fable or something where instead of reaching into the fire himself, he uses the cat's paw to reach into the fire, right? So the whole idea is that if you're going to do something, don't put your face on it, right? So let's say you have money, okay, and you have power. So let's say that you want to storm the Capitol, okay? And this is what people accuse Trump of doing is you don't go and do it yourself and you don't associate it with yourself at all. Think of it like a mafia boss. It's like, oh, this guy just died. I don't know how this happened. You know what I mean? It's like you have someone doing the dirty work for you, right? So that you don't get this, you don't have any connection to it. You don't need to be the hero. You just need to finance it, right? And this is where we're getting outplayed by a lot of people that have a very liberal mindset. Is they're actually using the 48 laws of power against us, and they're being successful at it. Where I feel like a lot of people that otherwise would be logical people are taking the aggressive, in your face approach, and they're just getting smacked down because they're not obeying the laws of power, right? I mean, there's so many of the things, like even like the third one here on this list, mask your intentions, right? Like, don't let people know that you're going to go and storm the Capitol. Like, just surprise attack, all of a sudden flash mob, thousands of people show up. Now you could actually take it over. I mean, with, you know what I mean? Protect your reputation, right? Say less than necessary. It's so funny when people give all their evil plans out instead of just being quiet and doing whatever you're going to do. So it's all, comes down to this, this idea of using, like you said, of if you want to change the world. I'm not again, I'm very libertarian in my viewpoint. So I have ideals. It's not like I'm a completely unprincipled person. I have a lot of principles that I live my life by, but one of the most important one is understanding power. And so if you want to change the world, you can change the world. That's great. The best way to do that is to make a lot of money, okay? And to build up a platform, if you want to, an audience, so that you can actually communicate and reach a lot of people, and then they will change the world. You're not going to do it by yourself. You're going to do it by getting yourself into a position of power. And then when you have a position of power, hell, you can lobby. You can pay to actually to actually change laws. You can do a lot of different things if you have money, if you have power. So that's your best bet. But if you can't do that, then you're not going to compete against people that you can't. So think of it this way, right? Like, let's say, take someone like Jeff Bezos, right? He's got billions of dollars. All right. So who do you think is going to win? You trying to move things in your political direction, even if there's thousands of you, versus Jeff Bezos, whatever you imagine how much power he has with that money, what he can make happen, how many people he could pay off, how many people that he could pay secretly to have people just disappeared and you never see them again. And there's no connection to him at all. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's power. That's what you can do with that amount of money. And so if you want to change the world, don't like put it on Twitter and scream about it and live stream yourself committing felonies or misdemeanors, I guess, in this case. Like, actually gain real power, gain money.
Yeah. Like I say, though, I think a lot of these guys did believe that they were actually on the side of right, and that, because a lot of guys thought the election would be overturned that day, didn't they? They thought this was the storm. And so, presumably, had that have happened, then I guess they imagined that they would have all been exonerated. And in fact, they'd have probably been, deified for their involvement in this thing. And it was, I suppose, really, it was believing that was going to be the case is a big problem in this. It's actually buying into. I mean, I know everyone says don't trust the mainstream media, and yeah, sure, you've got to be critical of your sources, but I mean, don't trust the mainstream media, but equally don't trust some dude just because he's got a YouTube channel or a Twitter account, right? I mean, you can't believe everything you read just because it's not a mainstream source. That doesn't mean it must be legit, So yeah, I mean, it's having that instinct for what makes sense in actual reality. The difficulty with Pat as well is he's banging on about this, oh man, we've got to go from 3D to 4D to 5D understanding, and it's all just about feelings. It's about feeling, don't worry about the facts, it's about feeling. I don't feel like Joe Biden's president. Well, all of that's fine to say to your audience and to grift and whatever, but it's not fine in the real world where you've got a load of cops or National Guard people with guns. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's you've got to look at reality, and this is what this space should be about. It should be looking at reality, saying what is actually the situation here,
right?
And how much can I affect within that situation, and then making a decision on that.
And that's exactly what the red pill is supposed to be, right? Is exactly what you said. Like, whether it's political or with women, it's just seeing reality as clearly as possible, not having an emotional attachment to it. Is just accept it is what it is, and then saying, okay, based on this, how do I navigate this? We slow it down to bullet time, and then we look at, okay, what move do I need to make in this situation? Unemotional, doesn't matter. I'm not attached to to what the reality is. I don't care. I just care about what is my objective and how can I navigate this to get to my objective. That's it.
And so I just want to show you, for the people, they are when they LARP, because let's be honest, that's what these guys are, LARPers. And so for you guys that don't know what a LARPer is, it's a live action role player. So they're thinking that they're playing some role. They're like, okay, this is my Captain America moment, like my great patriot moment, where I stormed the Capitol and I sat down in Nancy Pelosi's chair, and then they said, you know what, that guy sitting in the chair, we're going to overturn the election because he's dressed like a Wookiee or whatever, that one guy who stormed the Capitol. Now take a look at the hero now. Here, look at the big brave guy. Let's see what he has to say now. Take a look.
For the second time in his
presidency,
Donald Trump has been impeached by the...
This is just a good just overall breakdown of the whole situation with Josiah. Take a look here.
The House of Representatives, this time accused of encouraging his supporters to storm the U.S. Capitol last week. A man from Meridian, Josiah Colt, was at that demonstration a week ago today, facing 2 federal misdemeanor charges at this time. And this afternoon, he talked to us. Colt turned himself into the FBI yesterday, held in the Ada County Jail last night before a federal court hearing, which was held remotely. The charges: knowingly entering or remaining in any restricted building or grounds, and violent entry and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds. If convicted on both counts, he could face a combined sentence of 1.5 years. But Colt will not have to stay in jail ahead of his trial. Here's what he had to say as he left the jail this afternoon.
Didn't hurt anybody. I didn't take anything. I didn't break anything. My intention was just to go there to have my voice heard. I do love America. You know, like I said, I apologize. I do not condone any of the violence that happened there, and it is tragic, and it breaks my heart about what that turned into. I love my community. I love Idaho, and yeah, I'm just very sad about how everything turned out. I went there because I love America, and my intention, you know, was just to have my voice heard along with a lot of other people. And you know, for me, you know, I just wanted my voice heard that about having fair elections, and it did. Yeah, I mean, it turned into something that really tragic, and that I did not want to happen at all. So.
Keep in mind, this is a 34-year-old man. This is not like, oh, I'm 23 and misled. Like you're grown. You're 34. And now what does he have to look forward to? His future is in shambles. Yeah. I hope he can bounce back, but
if you're gonna do that shit, at least own it. Don't like the,
yeah. And now he's backing off.
I'll be like, yeah, I fucking did it. I would do it again, motherfuckers. That's I mean, if you're gonna fucking do it, own it. That's it. You know. So don't try to backpedal on that shit.
70K a month in a right to work state. This guy is a fucking moron. And, you know, I mean, like stupidity too, because I mean, there are people right now who are deeply suffering financially, deeply suffering financially. And that money could have been used to do so much good for people. And now it's dried up. And it's just foolish, man. It is just truly foolish. And you know, not even going to talk about the dating side of things as well, because supporting anything but the right party, you know, is not. Girls are not going to like that in America. Like you have to kind of go around and be like, oh, you know. I'm kind of a Trump supporter, you know, like, you know,
actually, so there's some that will, you know, that will like, he'll have a niche,
yeah,
a specific niche of,
right.
Except for that, which would have been fine if he didn't come on camera just then and then basically act like a total.
Oh, yeah. No.
If he owned it, then he would have like his.
I'm not talking about him. Like Josiah, he can go. He'll get pussy from this for sure. I'm talking about for the guy watching right now, the average guy.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You know, I mean, John, how many times do we see on dating profiles? If you voted for Trump, swipe left. You know, it's just
but those same ones, when it comes down to the brass tacks,
right?
It's a little bit of a different story. They're actually like they want you to actually be like, yeah, you know what, you they want to know that you're a man, you stand up for your political viewpoint that doesn't. That's completely against theirs, and tell them what an idiot they are.
I would say though, like for the average guy who's trying to figure out his dating life, if he's decided to get political with women on dates and stuff, it's just your end game for going on dates is what, guys? It's to have sex, and to bring up politics, it brings up a dark side of people, especially in America, like an opinionated side, a feral opinionated side that is like, if you are not with me, you are absolutely against me. You know, when Biden gave his inauguration speech recently, you know, I love to watch. I'm pretty happy that Biden got into office because now I have 4 years of content. So like, you know, I just watched his speech and he said, now is the time for unity. We need to come together. What they're really saying is now is the time for conformity. We're going to find you and we're going to snuff you out if you don't fucking do what we say. And I just think, again, what is the upside of being political in a dating situation? And what John said is true. I used to hook up with chicks in 2016 and lie to them and be like, oh yeah, I hate Trump, whatever. And then we'd end up having sex, and then they'd ask me for a shirt or something after, and I'd give them a "Make America Great Again" shirt. And they'd put it on. They'd smile. It was very funny to see. They'd take
there were some guys.
There were some guys
in Britain who would who would do day game, and they'd wear red MAGA hats while they were doing day game, and they did it deliberately, partly because they were Trump supporters, but also they did it because they wanted to create that polarity, because they wanted to take advantage of what John's talking about. Kind of a risky strategy, not the best thing to do if you're new to that stuff, though, because you're going to get some bad reactions, but you can play off it, can't you?
You have to have a really strong frame to be able to do that, because they're going to try, like, you're basically asking someone to challenge your frame immediately, right? So
and we're expert level guys up here too. Let's clarify that too. Like, John, you're expert level seducer. I'm expert level. Troy, you're expert level. But for the guy who's like has a lay count of 4 and he hasn't had sex in like 6 months, put on a MAGA hat and be like, yeah, bitch, make America great again. Like, you're gonna go home and jerk off for a while.
Just don't talk about it at all. No, no politics at all.
So, and then talking about that, like, in the by the way, guys, please smash like right now. There's 222 people watching, only 110 likes. Please, let's get that up to 200. Smash like, and then you too can overturn the election. But the way things are shifting as well in America, if you're like getting really political on your businesses, I mean, look, it's like I said, politics in America is pervasive. It is seeping through the cracks of everything, and businesses. It's gotten to the point in America that a lot of businesses, some people they're so brainwashed, and because political people are the new crazy people. You guys have to realize that political people are the new crazy people. Okay. Unless you're actually going to go and like get elected and actually make a change from the ground up, being like, I'm a political person, like, great. Give me your Facebook information so I can block you. Right.
Unless you make money off of it.
That's it.
Right.
If you want to be, someone who, like a Ben Shapiro or whatever, you want to make money off it, sure, then that's fine.
Yeah, true. And so, Cernovich obviously did that. Some of these guys do make that pivot, don't they?
Yeah.
And that's fine. But you get most of the rank and file on something like Twitter are guys who are just spouting their opinions. They're not actually making any cash off it. And that's when you've got to look at yourself and think, what am I really gaining out of this, except getting angry and then owning people once in a while?
Right. And watching this stuff, putting it into your head, it just poisons your mind, and then you're like, you feel exhausted, and all you're doing is sitting down and reading.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. When you check social media, you poison your mind for the day, and then it's not good. So well, real quick, let me just catch this. ML says with the 5 Great British Pounds says, good work, shows the difference between high IQ and high IQ with being smart. Go ahead, John.
So I'll draw a parallel here. Again, looking at red pill, looking at women, right? So this is one of my favorite topics, right? I talk about how I dislike MGTOW philosophy so much, and the reason why is because of the same thing, right? So guys that get angry and hate on women, right, because of all of this, whatever. It's the same exact thing. Right, same exact thing as being political, right? So you're not going to be as strategic if you have an emotional involvement. If you see some hot girl and you're like, oh, this bitch over here, and you're thinking that way, it's the same thing as being political, right? You're going to be clouding your judgment. You're not going to be able to make the logical choices. You need to look at this whole thing, like I said at the beginning, is like a chessboard.
Right.
It is what it is. Some things are good to your advantage, and you can utilize those things, and some things are not. It's just controlling what moves that you make. You should have no horse in the game. It doesn't matter, where it is, how the board is positioned, because you didn't have control over that. So it doesn't matter. You have no emotional attachment. But it's the same thing, like I said, drawing that parallel between women, right? Mm-hmm. If you have some feelings about, if you're like, oh, hypergamy makes me so angry, then you're not going to use it to your advantage. You're not going to see the strategy and the opening that's there for you to utilize that, right? If you have all of these, anytime you get emotional about anything or politicized about anything, you're not going to be making the best decisions. So I don't know. That's another just reason. It's just the exact same thing that we see playing out in the manosphere, where guys are all upset about how women behave, and as opposed to just looking at it from an objective perspective, right? When I first read Rational Male, Rollo's book, my first thought was like, okay, this is good because I want to see what reality is. I don't have an emotional reaction to this. People talk about the red pill rage, and I think it's just an absolute ridiculous response to seeing the truth, is because you want to know the truth so that you can play the game better, not so that you can be butthurt about it.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. I was never butthurt. I was fortunate in a way because of the way that things panned out for me personally, but I never really had that big red pill rage thing that people talk about. I read the Rollo stuff. I thought, yeah, that ticks a lot of boxes. I recognize a lot of this. I've seen a lot of this in my own life. And then I just immediately thought, okay, so how can I use this knowledge or this greater insight to get the best possible outcomes for me in the dating market? That's how I utilized it. And I've never been on board with being angry with women or any of that stuff, because it just seems to be beside the point. It's just like, why do I even want to waste my time with that? I just want to have the life that I want to have. And that's got to be based in seeing reality and then maneuvering the best way that you can forward.
Yep. Yeah. And again, the philosophy over here is make money, make muscles, learn game. Okay.
That's it.
Because that's what you want as a man. You have to be taking actions that are oriented to these three things in your life consistently, and only these things. If you're going to do something, you have to ask yourself, is this going to make me money? Is this going to make me muscles? Or is this going to teach me to learn game? And if it's not, why are you doing it? Okay. I understand recreation. You want to play some video games. You want to smoke some weed, whatever. As long as you're on your purpose, as long as you're doing your thing, you want to have a glass of brandy or drink wine or whatever the hell you do. That's fine. That's fine. If it's going to aid you in relaxing your mind to get back to doing the work, that's fine. But if you're consistently, again, if the politics isn't making you money, what are you doing? Like I said, my best friend back home, like the guy, I just write them. I have been writing off a lot of people, man. I'm seeing this situation here, really, really take people's lives and destroy it in silence, not publicly, but just like mentally. You destroy this, forget it. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much money you have. That this is gone, you're done. So that's the lesson today, guys. Is you got to remain apolitical. It does not benefit you. It isolates you. It polarizes people. It puts an unnecessary target on your back. There is no reason for you to do that. You need to be doing things to fix yourself, to make yourself better, to be selfish in a healthy way, to improve yourself, to make yourself bigger, powerful, stronger, richer, sexier, whatever. Because again, our time on this planet is relatively short. It is finite. And I don't believe in God. I don't believe in the afterlife. I believe you die every night. You just lights go off. We're just lucky enough to wake back up and be like, oh, fucking dodged death that day, But your luck's gonna run out eventually. So in the meantime, you should be cultivating the life that you want to live in order to maximize the experience we have here, which is consciousness. That is the benefit. Storming the Capitol, that fucking bitch got smoked. They smoked that woman and killed her dead. They didn't even give her like a warning shot or step away from the door. None of that. There's like the guy popped around the corner. He's like, brap. She fell down and died, and that was it. There goes her story. So,
can I just say one other thing, John? I know you were saying earlier, you've always liked Trump, and I don't know about yourself, John, as well. I think Trump, I think Trump is an incredibly fascinating guy, incredibly charismatic. He's got some good lines, he's got some good swag, all the rest of it. I get it, but do you think that there is a problem with placing any other human being as idolizing them in this sense, right? Because you've got all of these dudes who are on the Trump train. We know people who've been wearing the MAGA cap for 4 years without taking it off, even in the shower. And it's kind of like, if you make another man your God, that has got to be problematic, right? Because we're all just fallible human beings in the end, right? Yeah. Even though some of us may be very impressive, whatever, in the end, why put exactly. But why make somebody else your God? Why put somebody else above you?
Yeah.
Well, and I can definitely speak to this, right? Because there's a parallel again to this, right? So, not to piss anyone off, but I think it's you can't be on anyone's team besides your own team, right?
Yes.
And this is something I had to face recently, right?
Yes.
I mean,
so true, John.
even with you guys with the Rule Zero versus the 21 convention guys, right? Because I spoke at 21 convention, right? And it's like, and people got pissed on both sides of the equation. They're like, oh, you need to like, are you on our team? Constantly, I get this. I still get this. Like, whose team are you on? Which side are you on? And I'm like, I'm on my side. I'm on my team. Okay. No offense to any of you guys. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Right. But I'm on my team. I'm not on someone else's team. I'm not going to play on someone else's team. I'm not lifting anyone up, and I'm not going to play that game. And again, it's fine. I understand, it's great to have groups of organizations and whatnot. And if people want to kick me out because they're like, hey, we're not going to associate with John because he's played on this other team, that's fine. That's your choice. I'm not going to get upset. I'm not going to knock anyone because of that. But the whole point is that you have to live your life that way on your own team. And sometimes when you're on your own team, people are not going to like it because they want you to take a side. People always want you to take a side. And this is what's happening in politics today. And, and that's fine. But so many guys, like, again, like you said, Troy, I think that's great with the Trump supports. Like, I like a lot of things about Trump, but there's some things I don't like. But regardless, it doesn't matter. I'm never going to be a Trump supporter because I'm never going to be anyone else's cheerleader. I'm my own fucking cheerleader.
Yeah.
Because it's, that's what really matters in my life. And so I don't know, that's my take on it, is that you've got to be on your own team as a man. And that's what, again, guys looking at what women find attractive, they're looking for a guy that makes his own decisions, that is the boss, that runs his own show, not some guy that follows someone else. That's really the key. And again, it doesn't mean that you don't have influence, right? Like a lot of guys, they respect us. They're in our audience. They listen to what we have to say. But at the end of the day, even the guys in my audience, I tell them, hey, look, if you disagree with what I'm saying, you're probably wrong, but but regardless, make your own fucking decision. You know what I mean? Like, take some of my philosophy, take someone else's philosophy, and then combine it with your own thoughts, and then decide what you're going to do as a man and make your own fucking choice, right? You can't be anyone's puppet. You can't be anyone's fanboy. You have to be your own, and you have to be on your side. That's the key.
Yeah, you want to be captain of your own ship, don't you?
Yes, and that's the thing. And also to since we're larping on about alpha beta over here sometimes, pedestalizing another man is anything but alpha. Okay, I like John, I like Troy, I like Thor, I like Rollo, I like Rich, I like all my guys that are better than me in some way, shape, or form. But in my heart of hearts, I think I'm better than all of them, and they look at me and they're like, I'm better than that fucking guy, and that's a healthy thing to have. Like, you want to have a healthy form of narcissism, and it's a healthy form of self-esteem, right? The moment you're going around pedestalizing other men and pedestalizing these people, and for me too, like I tell people, don't you dare pedestalize me. That's why I went and met the people in real life. I wanted to show you, like, I'm not perfect. I'm a fucking dude just like you. However, despite my imperfections, I am still marching to the beat of my own drum. And that is what makes me the man that I'm very proud to be. I'm a self-made man. I mean, nobody tells me what to do. I told everybody to go fuck themselves. And I'm holding my ground on a lot of things. Like, a lot of people thought I was a crazy person when I started I think I'm the only dating coach in the world that had a weekly Bitcoin show when it wasn't cool to talk about Bitcoin in early 2019. People were like, what is this guy? Like, can you teach us how to get pussy? Like, my attendance and viewer numbers for Bitcoin was very low, and from a Bitcoin show, but I knew and I held my ground and I believed in it. And that is something you guys have to do in the audience watching me right now. Don't idolize me. Idolize yourself. Okay. Yeah. You can have people you look to collect data from. Like, I admire Donald Trump. Why? Because he's made $1 billion and I haven't. And I do admire him. Do I pedestalize him? No. Do I think I could do things better than him? Absolutely. But the moment you get to a position where you're like just a blind follower and just blindly supporting somebody, I mean, you're going down a path that, quite frankly, in my opinion, you probably shouldn't be going down. Thor, welcome to the panel. I think you said something really awesome. I wanted to highlight it here. You said here, if you think you make a difference in the political or national system and you do not hold a position or committee and a donor, well, you don't understand that you are just a useful idiot. We're going to wrap up here, Thor, but do you want to say anything because you joined us here? You want to say anything on this topic?
I think you're muted, Thor.
You are muted, Thor. Let me see if I can help you out there with the reality stone.
How about that? You guys hear me now?
There you go. I fixed it. Go ahead.
Yeah, you did. No, you are a useful idiot at best if you don't understand the system. I had a hard political awakening 12 years ago since I was at one time I was a central committee member for Republican Party in California, which really means Democrat.
Right.
Central committee. There is no difference. These people talk with each other and they laugh at the useful idiots. If you're not an attorney, if you're not an large insurance or a banker, or if you're not well established within the governmental system, you are a very low level grunt, essentially. Yep. And you have to earn your way in. And that's the real fact. And, the entire mass media is designed to make you feel like you make a difference. And yet you don't, because you don't understand. It's the hard reality of it. They want to whip up a national fervor, but in reality, patriots are powerful. But being nationalist, I know John said being a nationalist and shaking the flag, it's really useless. It's like magic. Don't look over here, but look over here. Look at this stuff here. I'm going to do something over here. Right. And when you realize that, you can kind of back off from the whole experience, focus on yourself. And John hit it right on. Jonathan from Bulldog. The best way to win this game is to play within it, acquire power, become a donor, and subtly exercise your power. That's how things are done. The poor folks that went out there and demonstrated in the Capitol are essentially those useful idiots that played right into a large political power's hand. Look, we told you all along they were radical. Look what they did. This will have impacts for years. They shouldn't have even showed up. I mean, really, they played right into it. Unfortunately.
They did. And also now they say, well, Antifa were there and they were, and all the rest of it. Like, of course, I don't know the truth of all of that. I wasn't there. But regardless, either way, either they made themselves look bad or, there were other elements there making it look worse, but they helped them do it. So them taking that actions, they thought, oh, I'm going to make a stand. I'm going to do what's right. Actually, they just played into the hands of the people that they were opposing. So you've got to be very careful about, the efficacy of taking this kind of direct action, because very often it's just not going to do any good at all.
Right.
So true.
And then, again, one of the most freeing things you guys can do is this, and I did this, right? I'm going to talk about it. Recently, I got some plastic surgery on my face, right? They put the fat pads under my eyes, and I laid down on the operating table, right? And I laid down there, and I was like, they're about to put this anesthesia on me. I don't know when I'm going to turn off. I don't know when I'm going to wake up. And I was just like, God, this is what it must feel like when you're about to die. And I was looking up at the lights, and I just thought to myself, I thought to myself, well, I just, I love my mom and I love Miss MLD. And if I were to die, I wish I could tell them that I love them. And then I reflected on that. I was like, how pathetic is that? I mean, look, bear with me. I just thought, how pathetic and useless is that? Because that's my great thing that I want to preserve, right? I just want to be like, oh, I just want to tell them some words about an emotion I feel, a selfish thing. I don't even know if they reciprocate the love, right? And then I realized, even if I did die, so, okay, who's going to miss me? Mom's going to miss me. Miss MLD's going to miss me. My family's going to miss me. Guys on YouTube are going to miss me, but
MD would miss you a lot.
He's going to plan a
no content.
Yeah. So, let's say then I die, right? And I just, you go through that exercise and you realize how pathetic and not special you really are. And that is where you're going to find freedom, especially like in Fight Club when he says, good morning, maggots. You are not special. You are not some special snowflake. You are the same decaying, decomposing matter that the rest of us are. You're not that. Like, all of us in this panel think we're special. All of us on this panel think we deserve the immortality serum. Like, I deserve it. Not John from Bulldog Mindset. If someone's going to live forever, it's me. Not Thor, not Troy, not Rollo Tomasi, none of these people. It's me. But when you realize how foolish and stupid it is, and you realize how inconsequential life really is, it's liberating. And then you can take the action you want to make your life better. Then you can begin to create the life that you want. That is the truth about life, and you have to internalize that. Am I wrong? Do you guys disagree, agree?
No, 100%.
Yeah, no, it's very true.
I agree. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, listen, man, thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're going to be back here at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Guys, don't be political. Nobody likes a political person. They really don't. Okay. And if you're the political guy in your family, they don't like you. Okay. So much love to you guys. Make money, make muscles, learn game. Peace out.